It's very bright, isn't it? Is it a little bit too bright? The tea is piping. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back for... I'm nervous for this video, I don't know why. It's a story time, I'm sure you guys have seen it from the title. This is a why I quit my job kind of story time. I'm obsessed with these videos, I love watching them, I think they're really funny. And this one is going to be all about why I quit my job at Hollister. Now, I don't know why I'm so nervous about this, because all of this is my opinion, my experiences, and just kind of what happened. So I'm not like doing anything dodgy, but I don't know. I'm kind of nervous to kind of expose everything that went on. Before we get into this video, if you guys are not already subscribed to my channel, I would really appreciate it if you go down there, hit subscribe, turn on the bell, and you will be notified when I upload. And I would also really appreciate it if you could go ahead and follow me on Instagram. I'm going to leave a link to that below. But yeah, I've kind of been updating you guys a lot over on Instagram lately, and it's kind of the place to be. Really not, but you know. So yeah, if you go follow me over there, I'd really appreciate it. But that's enough of that. Let's just get into today's video. So today I'm going to be talking you through why I quit my job at Hollister. If I'm honest, most of this video is probably going to be negative. I didn't work there for that long. There's a lot of kind of stories that are interwoven within this video, so I'm just kind of pre-warning you. Yeah, I've never done a video like this, so drop me a comment below and let me know if you like these kind of chilled out chit chat videos, and if you want me to do more. I'm gonna crack open a drink. Yeah, there's a little bit of tea in this video, I'm not gonna lie. There's actually a lot of tea, which some people might not be interested anymore, because Hollister is kind of like a lesser known brand. It's not as cool as it once was, but if you are interested in my experiences and what happened when I worked there, then be sure to carry on watching. So literally as I've sat down to watch this video, I've just seen that Imogen Nation has just posted hers, which is super weird because this was not planned at all. Like, I just wanted to film this video today and then I saw that she uploaded a similar video. So that's really, really random and strange and just a coincidence, just to let anyone know. But I'm still gonna go ahead and film it because my experiences might be completely different to hers. So I'll start out all about how I got the job at Hollister. So I actually didn't get the job, if I'm honest. My sister got the job. So I actually started working at Hollister when I was 17 years old, and my sister at the time was 14. She went into the store with my mum, and a girl actually scouted her out, because this is how you used to kind of get a job offer for Hollister, which is just insane to think about now in 2019 that that was ever a concept. Because surely that's just discrimination at its finest. But yeah, my sister was scouted out at the age of 14, and they basically were like, can you work here? Would you like a job at Hollister? And she was like, no, I'm 14, like, I can't really work here, but my sister really needs a job. And I don't know where I was at the time, but I wasn't with her at the time. I was like away or something. So she was like, yeah, my sister could do with a job, which I needed to get a job at that point. I was in sixth form and I just wanted a bit of extra money. And you know, everyone had a job at that point. Everyone was working somewhere or doing something. So they were like, okay, can we please see a photograph of your sister? Which, honestly, saying this out loud is actually insanity. Like, when you think about it, it's kind of just crazy, but this is just what they said. So my sister was like, yeah, there's a photo of me and my sister. And they were like, great, brilliant, tell her to I think they either took my number and they text me, or they text my sister or something, I can't remember it. But they told me the date to come in for an interview, and they basically just said, come in, it's going to be a group interview. So I went along to my kind of local Hollister, which wasn't actually that near to me, but I'm just going to put a bit of a disclaimer here. At the time when I worked at Hollister, it was kind of a cool company to work for. I'm sure we all have those like brands that are trending or popular, like Victoria's Secret's now really trendy and pink. Back then in the day, I'm 23 next week, so this is back in the day. Working at Hollister was kind of a cool thing to do. This is like 6-7 years ago now, so it wasn't like super cool like it once was, but it was still kind of popular to work there. And I would go in there and buy pieces for the summer. I'd always buy like little summer dresses from there or bits and bobs. So I was a consumer of their products, and yeah, I was really excited about it because I thought it was a cool place to work, and I thought it sounded fun. So I went along to the interview. There was a group interview. I want to say there were about 5 or 6 of us. I think there was only like one boy in the group interview, and I was obviously very nervous. I'd never been in that sort of situation before, so I did a lot of research online about what maybe they would ask me, and everyone online was saying like what kind of things to wear to the interview, and everyone just said go really kind of simple with your makeup, really simple with your outfit. That's kind of the vibe they look for in Hollister. So we had this group interview. They kind of didn't really ask us about previous experience, which was super ironic because it was working in retail. You would think that they would want someone with a little bit more experience, but hey ho, I wasn't complaining because I had none at this point. I don't even think they asked for a CV. They literally just asked us to fill out a couple questions online. So they didn't even want a CV. It was literally just like scenarios, and then you would kind of have like a little box and you'd answer the questions. And then yeah, the group interview, they kind of just like asked questions, and we would all sort of just try and get an opportunity to speak during the question time section of the interview. And at the end of the interview, they basically said, right, we need to take a Polaroid photo of all of you. This is just kind of kept on a database for us at Hollister in case you're ever used as like a model for a campaign, because most of the campaigns for Hollister, they actually use employees. Now at the time, I'm not gonna lie, I found this really, really strange. Like, I was like, hold up, I'm here to do a job interview and they're gonna be taking a Polaroid photograph of my face. Like, I just didn't see the relevance in how that was helping me with the job. I was slightly confused, but you know, I was excited. I wanted a job. It was, I don't want to blame naivety, because I always think that's a lame excuse, but I was just super excited and very, very young, and I think now in hindsight, I totally would have stood up and been like, sorry, what? You want a photo? Like, so yeah, we stood there against a white wall and we all had a photograph. I also found it very interesting because I think this is when Hollister was starting to get into a little bit of hot water about discrimination and kind of like employment and stuff like that. And like right at the end of the interview, I remember one of the questions was something like, what does discrimination mean to you, and how can we prevent this in the workplace? And it kind of felt like an add-on. It almost felt like a question that they asked because they were starting to get into a little bit of trouble. I don't know, maybe that's unfair, but that's just how it kind of felt. It felt like a random question that they sort of just threw in there at the end to make themselves look as though they were being really broad in who they were employing and their kind of ethics. So that was all a little bit dodgy, but hey ho. Anyway, about a week later, I got a phone call from this girl. The girl that did the interview was actually really, really lovely, and she was like, you've got the job. So I was so unbelievably excited. I then had to go in for a day where you watch a video about how to work at Hollister and like what it's all about, and you pick out clothes. So this was another really interesting thing about working there. You had to pick out a uniform, but the uniform had to be current stock, had to be Hollister's like kind of new range. You basically got awarded, I want to say like £150 or £200 for your uniform, and then you got 50% discount on anything else that you wanted to buy in store. So that was great when I started, but when seasons start to change and you're not allowed to wear old stock, you don't really want to spend your own money on uniform. So it's a little bit frustrating because they never wanted you to be in old stock. So I remember trying on a few different outfits, and one of the managers was helping me, advising me with what my uniform could be. I tried on like a pair of jeans and a shirt, and she was like, let's do a dress and some flip-flops, which like is fine, like it's your uniform, I'm not gonna complain, but it was just very strange wearing that kind of stuff as a uniform, especially wearing flip-flops in a shopping centre in December. One of the most bizarre things, walking through your local shopping centre in flip-flops. The amount of people that would look at me like I was actually crazy was a joke. Got the job, didn't mind it. If I'm honest, I didn't like anyone that worked there. They were all really horrible. I was 17 when I worked there. They were all a bit older than me. They were super intimidating. They were all like, loved themselves. Yeah, they all literally loved their own face, and they just weren't overly friendly or nice. Now, when you work at Hollister, you either get employed as impact or model. I don't think any of this policy still exists. Model is essentially someone that works on the shop floor, and impact is somebody that works in the stockroom. So I got offered the role of model. Now, I was excited at this point because I was like, yes, I'm gonna be like a model, I'm on the shop floor, you know, it's so stupid. But in hindsight, I would have loved to work as impact because they always seemed to have a lot of fun back in the stockroom. They played music, they kind of chilled out, they used to eat snacks. Like, it just seemed like more fun than working on the shop floor, trust me. So this is where I kind of go into a little bit of my stories. I've got some notes here because I don't want to forget anything. So yeah, I basically started working there. Everything was going all right. They had a lot of policies on your uniform and what you could wear. And if I could honestly go back in time and just, it's insane the policies that they had. One of the policies that they had were hairstyles. You could have particular hairstyles that were deemed acceptable and unacceptable. Some of the unacceptable hairstyles were cornrows, which to me, I wrote a whole dissertation on African American hair and like hair texture. So to me, deeming cornrows as an inappropriate or like unprofessional hairstyle is literally just unbelievable and insane and just crazy. But that's a whole different rant that I need like a 25-minute video on. Bleached kind of highlights, unacceptable. Anything that was unnatural was unacceptable. So if it had been altered in any way, it was unacceptable and you couldn't wear it. So that also went for makeup. So you couldn't wear eyeliner, you really couldn't wear that much mascara. I actually remember turning up to work on like my 3rd shift or something with liquid liner. And I didn't do heavy liquid liner, I just did like a simple liquid liner, not even a cat eye. And I remember my manager literally going to me, you need to go upstairs, go to Boots, buy some makeup wipes and get that off your face. And I was 17, this was the first job I'd ever worked in. I was like, petrified, scared, and just really intimidated. So there was definitely an air of kind of like intimidation that went on a lot when I worked there. Another story is I used to have like bracelets on, but I remember I'd been to see an Ed Sheeran gig and I had a little Ed Sheeran band. This is literally when Ed Sheeran just started out and I was a little fangirl. And I remember I was stacking shelves and my manager literally, one of my managers, there were like multiple managers at the time and there was this one girl and she was just so vile. She literally came up to me, grabbed my wrist and was like, right, we need to cut this off right now, come with me. Like dragged me to the stock room, got a pair of scissors and just snipped it off. And it's just, they were just very abrasive, super aggressive, not very friendly. And all of these rules and regulations about your appearance, to me didn't seem like they wanted you to look professional. It was they wanted you to fit into a particular category, which was this kind of natural beachy look. And it's like, babes, it's 5 degrees in December, freezing cold, everyone's walking around in a coat and I'm standing here in flip-flops. It just kind of didn't fit the UK. Yeah, those were some of the kind of like generic things that went on. Another thing that went on is you were working on a 0 hours contract. So that meant that you were on a 0 hours contract and you kind of just worked when you wanted, but you did get like a little printout at the end of each week with what areas you were, what hours you were dedicated to work. And then you'd have this thing on a Saturday and a Sunday, which was called like call-ins or something. Basically meant that they could call you up at 9 in the morning and say, we need you to come in this afternoon, which, if I'm honest, was an absolute nightmare, because say you have something planned and then you don't know whether or not you're going to work, so you might get completely dressed up ready to go into work and then they could call you up like an hour before and be like, we don't need you, or they could call you up an hour before and be like, we need you. So that was just, I hated that bit about the job. It really used to irritate me, not knowing when I was working. I know for some people a 0 hours contract is amazing and I can appreciate that if you're kind of doing something else part-time, but I was at school and this was just kind of like my weekend job, so that was slightly annoying. A lot of the people, like I said, that I worked with were actually really horrible. No one was ever particularly friendly to me or nice. No one ever really helped me out. Like, I didn't know how to work the tills and stuff, and no one was just, everyone was just kind of bitchy, if I'm honest, and not kind. So we basically had walkie-talkies, and that's how we communicated with the people back in the stockroom. And they used to frequently put me in the front room. So the front room is like when you walk into Hollister, that first room is like the front room. And if you're put in there, you are not allowed to leave the front room because we didn't have any security, which is another whole kettle of fish. But we didn't have security, so you couldn't leave that front room in case somebody was stealing something, or it couldn't be left unattended. And if you were in that front room, you had to greet every single person coming into the store with, hey, what's up? Or, hey, welcome to the pier. It's like, mate, I'm in the middle of London. We're not near a pier. Like, it just was ridiculous. So that was kind of like the tagline that I had to say. And I just felt like a moron and an idiot saying it. Like, people would come into the store and I'd be like, hey, welcome to the pier. And I remember people would look at me like, what is this girl going on about? It just didn't come across as like genuinely friendly and wanting to help out the customer. It came across more as just like trying to be really cool and edgy, and it just, oh, it was so awkward. So yeah, I would sometimes be in there for my full 4-hour shift. So I would basically just stand in there for 4 hours greeting people at the front door. And this one time we basically obviously didn't have security, and a guy literally had gone up to the perfume desk with like a sack, like a massive bag. He had just taken all the perfumes and just swiped them into his bag. And I remember him walking out, and I remember radioing like the manager, I need a manager in the front room, I need a manager in the front room. A guy's just walked out with a load of perfume, and the manager just radioed me back like, go get the guy, like we need to get the guy. I was 17, leaving my store, like probably this was breach of my own contract, to chase a man down the down the mall that we had. It's like a mall, like an inside shopping centre, down the shopping centre to see what he had stolen. I'm sorry, but I just think that is so ridiculous. And look, I shouldn't have been naive enough to go along with it, so I've got to take some responsibility. But also, like, hire some security. You know that your store is constantly going to be like at risk when you have horrendous lighting. I mean, it was pitch black in there and the music is blaring out so loud. The amount of customers I would have come up to me saying, it's so dark in here, I can't see anything, blah 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 blah. And it's like, I'm an employee, I have no control over that. Like, or I would have people coming up to me like, it's so loud, I can't even hear myself thinking here. And it's like, if you have that as a store, as your like aesthetic, you then need to hire security, because people are going to come and try and steal, obviously. Like, they know that they can probably get away with it. So I remember I ran down the store, I literally grabbed this guy, I was like, excuse me, I need to check your bag. Thank God he just kind of stood there and like gave me the bag. And then one of the guys came out that was also working and was like, right, we need you to come back with us, we're gonna call the police. So he kind of took over the situation, but I shouldn't have even been in that situation where I'm chasing someone down the shopping centre because they've stolen things. Like, that's not what I signed up for. I signed up to work weekends in a shop and just, you know, work in retail. I didn't think it was going to be like chasing criminals. So that was kind of one of the first big negatives for me when I worked there. And I remember thinking, is this for me? Like, I don't know. Same with the 0 hours contract. That was another thing that started to just really kind of bother me. Then there were probably two more things that just kind of tipped me over the edge. One of them was a guy that actually worked there, and this is really awkward because I actually still have this guy on Facebook. So if I share this video on Facebook and he happens to be like 15 minutes into the video, then hey babe, but I doubt he's watching it. So yeah, I was like 17, I want to say he was like 22, and I remember once I was like stacking jeans in the back room. So obviously they had like shelving units and they were really, really high things to kind of stack the shelves. And I had all my jeans and I was folding them up and kind of just like putting them up there. I don't know, whatever I was doing. I remember doing it once, and I remember vividly this guy coming up behind me and like squeezing me here, like, you know, on like your hip bones, kind of like just above your hip bones, squeezing me. And I remember just turning around and feeling so uncomfortable and awkward, but I didn't really know what to say. And he was just like, oh hey, are you new here? Like, my name's whatever, like whatever his freaking name was. It's so nice to meet you, like we always go out together and like you should come and get to know us. And like, it was just very forward. I'm not gonna say he did anything wrong because, you know, like, it is what it is, but I do remember thinking like, hang on a minute, I've never ever met you and you've just come up to me and like grabbed me by the waist. I don't know, I just find that a really strange way of greeting someone. Like, if I'm gonna greet someone, I'm gonna say hey. I'm not gonna go up behind them and like grab them by the waist. I just found it really strange. And he would always say like kind of slightly inappropriate things, like, what did he used to say? Like, you look really good in those jeans, or just kind of like slightly inappropriate things. But I was so young and naive that I didn't even know, you know, what to do about it. I never reported it to my manager, so it is what it is. The managers constantly used to go on about relationships. They never wanted manager and kind of but like employee relationships to go on. But amongst yourselves as employees, they were like, no, do what you want, like we don't care. So that was that. One of the third things that I was like, I don't want to be like harassed whenever I come to work. Like, I'm kind of over that. So that was probably the third red flag. And then the final red flag is when I was working on the tills and I was checking out people. And I don't know if you've ever noticed, but whenever you go into Hollister, the queues are like outside the door. Now that's done on purpose. They purposely don't open up other tills because they want the store to look busy. I remember once going up to my manager and be like, oh, the queue's huge, do you need me to jump on tills? And I literally remember her saying to me, no, don't worry about it. We want it to be really, like, we want the shop to look really, really busy, so we just let them queue. Like, we'll leave those tills, no one needs to be on them. If you have a queue of people who are waiting to buy products, I don't understand how making them queue is positive in any way. Like, surely that's just going to give them a negative shopping experience. But that was so annoying because the whole shop would be crowded with people, and I'd be like, we can solve this issue by serving people. Like, I can go and serve someone right now, I'm not doing anything. So that was super annoying. Another annoying thing is I would constantly radio people if I was in the front room. Like, if I was with a customer and they were like, can you grab this in a size medium, I would have to radio someone from the stock room to bring it out in a size medium. So I would be like, hi, is anyone in the stock room? Please can I have, and say the code of the dress, in a size medium. The girls would just not answer. Like, they would turn the walkie-talkies off, would laugh. I felt like an idiot. I would stand there with customers, stuck in the front room, unable to leave, radioing people like, I need a size small, I need a size large, or whatever it was, and no one would answer me. Or they would be like, yeah, sure, we'll bring it to you in a minute, and it would never come out, and things like that. So there definitely was an element of really like bitchiness that went on when I worked there. But I would say the fourth and final thing that kind of threw me over the edge, which stopped me from working there, was I was serving a lady on the tills, and we had a tagline that we had to say when we checked someone out. So our tagline was like, thanks so much for shopping at Hollister, be sure to follow us on Twitter. And I honestly had like this lady, and she was probably like early 80s, and she was obviously buying something for her grandchildren or something. That's what I'm assuming anyway. And I remember, like I said, thank you so much for shopping at Hollister, I hope you have a great day. Like, I was really, really nice to her, and off she went on her merry way. My manager like called me over because she had been watching me, and she was like, right, I'm going to be writing you up for that because you didn't say the tagline. And I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, if I had said to that lady, now I know I'm generalizing here, but this was like this was 6 years ago. Like, people didn't really, Twitter wasn't as big, I guess, as it is now. I felt like the queue was huge. I felt like had I said to her, please follow us on Twitter, she probably would have gone, sorry, what's Twitter? Then we would have ended up in some long conversation. There was a queue of people. I just thought it was 10 times easier to be like, thanks so much for shopping here, like, enjoy your day. Obviously not, and she like wrote me up for that. And I just remember thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm a good employee, I come into work every day, I do what you want me to do. I'm over this. Like, I am over this. And also another thing which actually I've written down, I forgot to speak about, was like things like my lunch break. Because I was under the age of 18, I was supposed to have an extra long, like a slightly longer lunch break, but I never ever got that. It would always be like a 10-15 minute lunch break. If there were so many, like, honestly, this is just some things that I could think of off the top of my head. There's probably a lot more that I can't think about. And it wasn't all negative. Like, at the time, I liked some of the clothes in Hollister, so getting 50% discount was kind of great. It meant that I could get a bit of discount for my sister, who was a bit younger, and she wanted some of the bits. So it wasn't all bad. I did get paid, like, you know, it wasn't like that. But I just think, on a whole, as an experience, when I was young and kind of naive, and I would drive quite a long time, quite a long way to get to work, because I just thought it was cool to work there. So I kind of drove to like a shopping centre that was a bit further out, and just overall there were a lot of things that made me quit. It wasn't one experience, it was kind of all of those issues and things combined. But those are like the main ones. I think just the way they handled you as staff, like as managers, and then obviously like employees, they were so abrasive and aggressive. Like, if your hair was in a ponytail, like I vividly remember having my hair in a ponytail and someone coming along, a manager coming along, and just pulling the ponytail out and being like, you can't have your hair like that. And it's like, there's a way of communicating that with someone than just like taking their hair out of a ponytail holder. I just don't understand how that benefits anyone. So yeah, that was my overall experience working at Hollister. Sorry if you found this video a little bit negative, but it's more kind of just like a story time and some of the situations that I found myself in whilst I was working there. I know that Hollister now is kind of not what it all used to be. I know it's changed a lot. They have the lights a lot brighter in there now, and the music a lot quieter, and I think their employment policy has changed, which obviously I'm really, really happy about. And you know, I'm not like boycotting Hollister. I don't no longer shop from them. I do know they have a little bit of a muddied kind of history, but hopefully they've kind of fixed a lot of their ways, and they're looking and striving to improve their employment kind of things. But this is just my experience. I genuinely did not work there for long at all, like really not long at all. I think it was less than 6 months. I gave in like my letter of resignation, and I was out of there in a hurry. But this is just what I kind of experienced when I did work there, and it wasn't the best. But but then maybe I wasn't one of the cool kids, and that was kind of why I didn't have a great time. I hope you guys did enjoy this kind of story time. Don't forget to drop me a comment below and let me know if you want to hear more. I totally have some other kind of juicy stories, not just to do with work, but just kind of to do with life. So let me know below. Like I said, go follow me on my Instagram. I will leave it here, and please subscribe to this channel. I would really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys.